When most people get $10,000, they usually do one of three things. They might spend it on a big ticket item or a vacation. They might put it into a savings account. They might even put it into an ETF and just forget about it and hope it does well over the long term. None of these are really bad ways to spend that $10,000, especially if it's a windfall that you weren't expecting. But here is what I would do instead if I wanted to give myself the best financial future ever. Before you touch that $10,000, give yourself a financial audit. Choose an evening, put on some jazz, pour yourself a nice beverage, and get to work on being really clear that without this $10,000, what is your current financial situation? What expenses do you have? What income do you have coming in? All of it. You should probably do this once a year anyway, but if you haven't, this is a good opportunity because you want to do the wisest thing you can with this 10K cash. It's also going to be a really good time to see where those budget leaks are so you can fix them right up. Once you have a really solid idea of where you are financially right now, then you can determine where you want to be in 1 year's time. Now, sure, you want to have an idea of where you are in 5 and 10 years as well, but a lot can happen over that time frame. So just let's focus on 1 year right now, and then you can reevaluate after that year is up. You might also want to schedule in monthly or quarterly check-ins to your budget as well, but doing this now is going to ensure that you have the best financial future that you can have. Instead of just hoping and wishing, we're making a plan. Now, there isn't just one plan that you need to follow. Everybody's situation is going to be different. Therefore, you need to focus on the lifestyle that you want rather than the one that society tells you that you need. This is your life that you get to plan, and not everybody's dream life is going to look the same. Maybe for you, it's a big house. Maybe it's no house and you just want to travel the world. Your plan is not just to go through the motions, but to actually think about what sort of life you want and how you can get that. So now you should have a pretty good plan of where you want to get financially and what you need to do over the next 12 months to start building that life. And you still have that 10K on the side ready to be put to work. In most cases, you want to focus on your debt first. I know you want to jump into all the fun stuff, all the investing. You want to start building that dividend income. I get it. That's fun. But we need to start with debt first. There is no point getting that nice 6% yield if you have a much higher interest rate on your credit card. Any debt you have with an interest rate above 5 or 6% should be your main priority first. So if you have $5,000 on your credit card with an interest rate of 18%, which is pretty normal, that's what you should be tackling. Because if you only pay off the minimum, it's going to take around 30 years to pay off that $5,000. And that is ridiculous. So with the money, you're going to prioritize any high debt first. You're also going to make sure that in your budget, you're not going to get into any of that debt ever again. Because once you get rid of that debt, now you can build wealth long term. Let's say you have some money left from that 10K. Maybe you have 5K left. Now you can have some fun with it. It's time to go shopping. Aha, but not for random items that are going to clutter up your house. You're going to go shopping for companies. Whatever you have left from paying off your debt is now going to go into building more wealth for you. You want to prioritize income producing assets. Now for me, that's investing in the stock market, but you might like property or anything else. But the goal is to be buying things that provide you an income. Because over time, income producing assets are going to build and they're eventually going to give you that financial freedom that you want. Now, since I'm a dividend girly, I'll give you some tips on that next. But remember, this is not a one size fits all. We all have ideas on what we want to do with our money, so do what's right for you. So of course, if I just found $10,000, it would be going into the stock market. Shopping time. Let's stop here and talk about why I would put it into the stock market and not a high interest savings account. Now, you should have some money in a savings account that you can access quickly, but most high interest savings accounts here in Australia, usually the high interests like 4 or 5%, you only get if you meet certain conditions. You have to deposit so much a month or keep the balance at a certain amount, or maybe you're not allowed to make any withdrawals. Otherwise, if you don't meet this criteria, it usually falls down to a very low interest rate and sometimes none at all. This is great if you can keep up with the conditions, but the general rate is usually fairly low. It's only the special rate that they advertise. So there is a lot of hoops to jump through. So definitely have some money in a savings account, but also remember, you can get your money out of the stock market in 2 or 3 days if you really need to. Anyway, let's go back to investing. Let's say that you have a full $10,000 to invest. Here's what I would do. I would divide it into 2K chunks. For the first 2K, I'd probably put it into an ETF, possibly VHY, but that's up to you. The second 2K, I'd probably put into a bank. The banks here in Australia are pretty stable. There's not a lot of growth, but you will get really nice income from it. The third 2,000, I'd probably put into a retail company, something like JB Hi-Fi or Wesfarmers. A retail company is going to give you stability and growth. The fourth 2,000, I might put into a mining company. Now, a mining company is going to be a lot more volatile than the rest of the investments that you have. A mining company usually does have higher growth, but there is a lot more volatility with it. That's why it's fourth and not first. And fifth, the last 2,000, I would put into another sector that you haven't bought yet. Maybe that's property, maybe that's insurance, maybe even tech, but another sector that you haven't invested in yet. And of course, I would make sure that each company I chose from each sector had a good dividend yield, was stable in their payouts, and had long-term growth. So that is what I would do with $10,000. I'd make sure all my financial goals were solid. I would eliminate any debt. I don't personally have any debt, but that's what I would do if I had debt. Then I would start building up a well-balanced portfolio in the stock market. What would you do with $10,000? I would love to know. Let me know in the comments. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I will see you in the next one. Mwah!